Hello Redditors, welcome back to Tales Against Humanity. Now, let's get started. In today's episode.
Hello, IT? I have a slight issue with my printer. This was said to me in the most calm tone of voice, the one that is usually reserved for when you talk about the weather or the neighbor's new puppy, and I was in no way prepared to what followed. This was back in the day when I worked for the government and was still an IT specialist in training. There were two other people with me. We had been hauled off into a room that was just big enough to stack the IT equipment, 3 different tables, and somehow squeeze in 3 people as well, and when we were not tasked with special stuff to do, we were delegated to work on the IT hotline. I was not expecting anything to happen, not on this day, but then the phone rang. IT, how can I help you? I ask while minimizing cookie clicker to the background and disabling the keyboard binding to simulate mouse clicks via holding numpad 0. Yes, hello, comes a very charming voice from the other end. I have a slight issue with my printer. Ooh-ha. In my head I already go down the various issues that had been reported before. We did have a rollout of new printers and the config of them was wonky at best. Fortunately there were 2,000 of them in backlog, so replacing them was easy as pie. Alright, you first need my name. The voice continues before reciting the name, which I dutifully type into the web form to fill out the ticket. She doesn't even mind as I begin to type in that there is a printer issue and waits all too patiently for me to give the go-ahead. Alright ma'am, what is the issue exactly? Well, you see. There are flames coming out of it. Hard crash. Brain reboot. Please press any button to continue or any other key to abort. I am sorry, which is followed quickly by my brain going into panic mode. Which room are you seated in? Oh, room 102, the voice answers, but it is not that important. I will be right there. I am seated in room 303, 3rd floor, 3rd room. That room is just 2 floors down and down a narrow hallway, normally something you can reach comfortably in 2 minutes if you walk. I make it in 30 seconds by taking the stairs and hauling myself down over several steps on the way down. On my way to the room I grab a fire extinguisher from a wall, the door is booted open and I like to believe that my mane was flowing in the wind as I struck a most heroic pose while bellowing, IT. Where is the fire? I am greeted by a young man who looks a bit confused and a smiling older woman. Oh dear, you didn't have to hurry that fast here. Ma'am. You said your printer was on fire. Oh yes, it was, but we unplugged it and the fire has gone out now. You can still smell it though. I inform the two that I am legally disabled and cannot smell anything, but I will just take their word for it. I also tell them not to plug the printer in again, I will get them a new one. The trip back to the 3rd floor is not as quick as I get my heart below hummingbird rate, grab myself a new printer, and on the way back tell my pals in the IT room that they please assign the new printer to room 102. When I return is the printer fortunately not plugged in, they listen to me. The new printer replaces the old one quickly and the younger guy cheerfully exclaims that he can already use it for printing. You can say what you want about the IT of this particular government branch, but they made sure that stuff like that worked as flawlessly as possible. All is good as I take the fire-spitting printer back up, place it on the workbench while my boss comes by and smirks. You look exhausted. I am. His smirk grows only smugger. Did you actually have to do some physical exercise this time? I admit, I am lazy, unless I have to run I don't. Yeah, the printer was spitting fire. Had to get there quickly. I'll send you the ticket in a few. If he had a monocle it would have popped out for dramatic effect while I go back to the IT room and fill out the ticket. Subject, printer is on fire. I save the ticket, send it away into the ether for someone else to finish it and go back to cookie clicker. The printer is gonna get written off anyways and no one is gonna bother repairing it. Story 2. A tale from the before times. This was back in the mid-90s when the tech support old gods still roamed the earth. I was 23 and got a job in the config lab of a big system integrator doing PC setups. Well, we started hearing about this internet thing, and companies started putting drivers on websites that we needed. But the old god who ran out IT didn't see a need to run Ethernet back to the lab. I watched him one day write his own driver for an I/O card in assembler with a logic probe. He was like that. Anyways, my cohorts and I wanted to be networking and server guys. But there was a big debate about Ethernet versus token ring, and so my company was trying to decide a winner. So he kept telling us to wait. Well, one day we found an old token ring MAU. We installed token ring cards in client PCs all the time. So we built a computer that had both an Ethernet card and a token ring MAU. We ran IP as a bridge to our lab, and then bridged it to IPX on the LAN. To help us out, we went to a computer that had internet and just copied the settings. It was a different time. But lo and behold, it worked. Kind of. We had internet in the lab for a couple of days. But unbeknownst to us, the old god was having 14-hour days trying to find out why his internet gateway kept going offline. After a week, he found his way to our little band of upstarts. By that time, we had built a whole little hive of our own network using pilfered static network configurations from various locations on the network. He caught us as one of the guys was trying to ghost the netware server. Our reward for this was that the company paid a network engineer to give us all networking training, because if they didn't, we would just experiment. He made us build our own config network and do our pirate stuff on that. That guy taught us security because we kept messing with his computer in class to drop root pictures on his desktop. I am now one of the new gods of tech support. And I am convinced that 95% of all security of fighting out how to stop the crap we used to pull. Every once in a while, I get an intern who asks me how I learned my role. I tell them, long ago, there were Titians. Story 3. Tech support or moral support, whatever works. This happened this morning. Tech is having a problem with a device his company purchased through us. Said Tech actually knows more about this device than I do because he has installed them and upgraded them, and I have maybe seen one or two. I can tell he's exasperated, so I let him explain the problem and we try a few things. Default passcode works, that's good. But what followed wasn't making any sense. About the same time I found the suspected answer. In fact, I wasn't really sure if he even heard me. He shouts an expletive and decries how he couldn't believe that's what it was, and it was so simple, and we rejoiced. Now, I'm sure with a little more time and a little more patience, he would have figured it out on his own. But all of us, no matter how good we are, or think we are, can always use a voice on the other end of the phone to help them see through the fog. In person, we called it putting another set of eyes on the problem. In this case, I was the blind leading the one who just needed a little help to see. This was an additional great win for me, as the president of my company personally assigned me to deal with this issue, and I didn't disappoint. Story 4. My computer won't turn on. $me, hi, this is $me with $support. I have a ticket here that says your computer won't turn on. $user, yeah, it won't turn on. It must have happened at 5:17 yesterday, that's the time on screen. $me, okay, wait, so you can turn it on? It's just frozen? $user, no, I can't turn it on. It says your session has ended, please log in again, and the time says 5:17. $me, so the computer is on? Like there's stuff on screen? $user, yes, and the time says 5:17. One hard reboot later and she was back in business. Why can't users accurately describe basic problems or answer basic questions? Is it on? No, but it's on XX. The fuck do you think on and off even mean? Do you not see all that light pouring out of the monitor? Or the light on the power button?